Gunfire in Burundi's capital a day after a former army commander declares a coup. Liberia copes with the aftermath of the Ebola epidemic. And how high-tech dressing rooms could make you the fairest of them all. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. Residents in the capital of Burundi are uneasy on Thursday. Explosions and gunfire could be heard in Bujumbura a day after a top general launched a coup attempt while the president was out of the country. And it remains uncertain just who is in control of the country. Loud blasts were heard Thursday in the center of Bujumbura, where daily political protests appear to have given way to clashes between rival political factions. The latest unrest comes as members of the UN Security Council are set to hold emergency consultations on the crisis, with a video briefing from a UN envoy in that region. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is urging people in Burundi to exercise calm and restraint. People celebrated in the streets of Burundi's capital, Bujumbura, Wednesday after an army general announced the coup.
I am very happy. I am happy. I am so glad. We have so much joy as Burundians. We had finished days protesting on the roads, sleeping outside, protecting our neighborhoods because of one man's benefits, fighting for his own interests, and going against the constitution and the Arusha Agreement.
Armed Forces Chief General Prime Nyangabo said the coup had been stopped, but coup supporters disputed that statement. The president's location is unclear. The French news agency reports he is at an undisclosed location in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. East African leaders condemned the coup attempt and suggested that Burundi delay its June 26 presidential election.
The summit condemns in the strongest terms possible the coup in Burundi, and the summit is of the view that it does not solve the problems of Burundi. We don't accept the coup. We condemn it in the strongest terms possible, and we call upon return to constitutional order in that country.
Meantime, the White House has voiced support for the ongoing efforts of regional leaders to restore peace and unity in the country, urging all sides to lay down arms. For more details, VOA East Africa correspondent Gabe Josler joins us on the phone from Bujumbura. Gabe, first tell us who is actually in charge in Burundi right now.
Well, that depends on who you ask, Vincent. If you ask the coup leaders, they say that effectively President Pierre Nkurunziza has been deposed, that he is no longer in power. But the message from the presidency is that he is still the leader of the country. While it's really unclear for most people on the street who's in charge, there are some facts that you can't deny. One is that there was fierce fighting today, especially around the state broadcaster, which was off air for a little while as troops from both sides fought for control, and then it went back into the hands of those loyal to the president. And also the airport has remained closed today, and there's a bit of a dispute about who's in control, but the fact is it's not functioning. So the effects are very real, even if the information is unclear.
The other question is, where is the president? Where is President Nkurunziza?
As far as we know, he's still in Tanzania. We've heard from some sources in Dar es Salaam that he's still there, where the meeting with regional leaders took place. Although his people, the presidency, won't confirm his exact location, it's clear that he's not in Burundi.
And how is the situation? You've been on the streets of Bujumbura. How does it feel like?
It's incredibly tense. During the day, the streets of the capital are basically deserted. I went out a few times today, and you could hear gunshots coming from all directions. Soldiers were manning a lot of the traffic circles and intersections. It was really pretty fierce for a while, and so people are laying low for the moment. We'll have to see what tomorrow brings, if we'll have more of the same or some more clarity on this situation.
Definitely, and Gabe, stay safe, and we'll be checking with you again tomorrow. Viewers, Gabe Josler reporting live from Bujumbura. Now to Kenya, where the Riyadh Majengo Mosque on the outskirts of Nairobi has been accused of being a hub of radicalization for youth turning to Somali militant group Al-Shabaab. But the imam of the mosque says he and others are working to turn youngsters away from extremist activity. Lenny Ruvaga reports from Nairobi.
This is 23-year-old Ibrahim Nyongesa, a resident of Pumwani on the outskirts of the Kenyan capital. He earns about $50 a month making and selling coconut confections. 4 years ago, Nyongesa became radicalized after listening to sermons from some of the mosques in Pumwani. But he stopped short of joining Al-Shabaab. He says after hearing what he calls correct teachings from the Riyadh Majengo Mosque.
I changed from being radicalized after listening to sermons and teaching of the sheikhs at the mosque, and I came to discover that in Islam, one is not allowed to shed innocent blood.
Pumwani has a population of about 30,000 people. Unemployment here is high, with most youth doing odd jobs to earn a living. Critics of the mosque say it has become a focal point for young men who think militancy is the answer to Kenya's problems. 2 years ago, police raided the area and arrested youths who said they were part of the mosque. 2 weeks ago, a member of the mosque who works for the country's parliament was arrested on allegations that he has links to Al-Shabaab. 3 years ago, Idris Nyaboga joined the mosque as its imam. He says the allegations that the mosque funds and encourages terror activities are unfounded. Nyaboga says the mosque works to de-radicalize the youth around Majengo.
When we encounter a Muslim so radicalized, meaning his views are against the teachings of the Prophet and the Quran, we explain the truth in detail until they change their hardline stance. Once they know the truth, it's then up to them. Forcing them to be moderate is another thing altogether. We cannot force them. Ours is to show them the way and tell them that their radicalized stand is wrong.
Kitu muhimu muoneshe na umbainishie kuwa hiyo fikra ambao amekuja nao ni makosa. Sasa unamwachia hapo hivyo.
Benji Ndolo from the Organization of National Empowerment, a group that advocates for policy change and good governance, says the problem of radicalization could be addressed by the government through inclusion.
It's got to do more in terms of programs, in terms of affirmative action, in terms of proactive, measures to bring the youth in to mainstream nation building, whether it's tenders, whether it's projects, whether it's different undertakings to create opportunity for them to earn something and get them off the sidelines.
Kenyans are concerned about Islamic militancy in the wake of deadly attacks claimed by Al-Shabaab. Last month, Al-Shabaab gunmen killed 148 people at a university in the town of Garissa. The group said the attack was in retaliation for Kenya's military involvement in Somalia. Lenny Ruvaga for VOA News, Nairobi, Kenya.
Now, French officials are also concerned about their young people being radicalized. Authorities estimate that nearly 1,500 people have left to join jihadist groups in the Middle East, the largest number in Western Europe. Lisa Bryan tells us more.
If Morad Benchalali's life had gone as planned, he would not be here, warning about the dangers of militant Islam. 14 years ago, he had a job and a fiancée. Then he went to Afghanistan, and his life turned upside down. He says his older brother tricked him into thinking it was a vacation. Instead, he ended up at an al-Qaeda training camp, and a few months later, a prisoner at the U.S.-run detention camp in Guantanamo Bay. Today, Benchalali is back home in Vénissieux, a tough suburb of Lyon in central France. He's telling his story so young people will think twice before joining jihads in the Middle East.
People don't find all the answers because every story is personal, but I help them find some keys.
Middle East and North Africa analyst Mansouria Mokefi says French authorities are also searching for answers.
The most important questions today are why are these young people leaving France? And above all, what has failed in France to have the young people leaving for jihad?
These questions are being asked across the country, but especially in places like Vénissieux, where youth unemployment is high and drug dealers lurk in the shadows. It's here where Ben Shalali grew up and where his brother turned to radical Islam. Ben Shalali says he paid the price for his brother's deceit. He spent 30 months in Guantanamo before being transferred to French custody. He's written a book about his experience. He called it A Journey to Hell.
On disait de moi, à ma sortie de prison, que j'étais...
I was sick of hearing that I was a terrorist, a radical Islamist. I wanted to tell the truth. I wanted to tell my own story.
Donc je voulais aussi raconter ma vérité, ma version de l'histoire.
At first, few French were interested. That changed as fears grew about radical Islam. Today, housewife Sherazade Bouri is among those who believes Ben Shalali can help change young minds.
He's young himself and he speaks frankly about what he endured.
Il parle franchement de ce qu'il a vécu.
But analyst Mokefi says that while Ben Shalali can make a difference, he's no match for the propaganda of Islamist extremists.
Yes, he can have an important role communicating, explaining, but dissuading, I am not sure.
Ben Shalali has rebuilt his life. His ordeal is over. He's afraid that for others, it's only just beginning. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Vénissieux, France.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54 and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, Ebola survivors struggle to cope with the aftermath of the disease. Stay with us.
I wanted to present music and a side of American culture that is most important to me, that is a part of who I am. They're going to get some incredible performances. That's one of the things I love, bringing these artists in so you can get to see them do what they do. It's soul music, and that's what music is. It's that which comes from the soul.
Well, it's time now for a Thursday Health Report, and joining us now is Africa 54 health correspondent Lino Mudu with the latest news on Ebola. Hello, Lino.
Hello, Vincent. An Italian nurse has tested positive for Ebola after returning from Sierra Leone. The man began to feel sick at his home in Sardinia on Sunday evening and was taken to a local hospital. He became ill 2 days after coming back from the West African state where he had been treating patients for the disease. The patient tested positive for Ebola and was immediately transferred by a military plane to a Rome hospital where he is now being treated. Liberia was declared officially Ebola-free by the World Health Organization after 42 days of no new infections. But various ailments still plague those who survived the virus, including debilitating eye conditions like vision loss. Jamama Kone is on her way to the Cooper Adventist Hospital in Monrovia to see an ophthalmologist. Kone survived the recent Ebola outbreak in the country, but now she is struggling to cope with the impact of the disease, which she says affected her vision and jaw. It's a complaint some doctors say is common among survivors of the West African outbreak.
My job, the doctor said that the job is dislocated, and it hurts me a lot. I can't chew, I don't talk well. Then my eye too, they red, I can't see. It happened during the time I was in coma with the ETU. When I came from coma, I noticed my mouth was wide open and my eye, the eye was closed, it couldn't open.
The United Nations says over 8,000 people survived Ebola. Some survivors are complaining of side effects months after their recovery, a condition some doctors are now calling post-Ebola syndrome. The symptoms reported include joint pain, hair and memory loss, and vision problems.
Anyway, they are coming with different cases. Some people are coming down with refractive area. Some people are coming down with uveitis. Some are coming down with bingo coli.
Medical experts say it is not yet clear how long the post-viral complications last, and there is also no scientific literature or medical consensus on any new syndrome among survivors.
Eye surgeon not to know, especially those who do invasive, that means going inside the eye to work, to know that the virus can be harbored in the eye of a survivor. Now, he cannot tell you how long it is. Even it's a mystery now to know how long the virus can be harbored also in the eye.
Ebola killed over 11,000 people in Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. For Ebola survivors like Kone with post-Ebola syndrome, the struggle continues. Joining us live via Skype from Geneva, Switzerland, for more on the subject is Dr. Margaret Harris, spokesperson for Ebola with the World Health Organization. Dr. Harris, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So the virus lives on in someone's eyes. This is a really troubling. Can you tell us about this phenomenon?
Yes, this is something that was mentioned in previous reports of Ebola outbreaks. But as you know, there were small numbers of people in very remote places. And unfortunately, nobody really followed those patients through. With this very large outbreak, we've had a number of our doctors then work with survivors, and it's become very clear to us that this is a very serious problem, that for some people they have symptoms that are really very debilitating, like blindness or hearing loss or joint pains, that need to be investigated and need to be and they need to be looked after. So we've launched a research project to follow these people through and to try to understand what their problems are so that we can help them as best possible.
So are all these symptoms observed with all survivors, and if not, are some people predisposed to developing this?
It's not all survivors. So, for instance, in some groups up in Kenema in eastern Sierra Leone, we found that as many as half the survivors, but it was a small group, but half the survivors that we were looking after there did complain of eye problems. In the most recent case in America, they actually found that there was virus persisting in the eye. And this is because the eye and some other parts of the body, such as the testicle, is protected from the immune system because you don't want your immune system attacking your eyes for no reason. So it's what we call an immune sanctuary. And it seems that in a very small number of people, the virus is able to stay there.
Okay, now given that there are no specific studies about this problem, what are the recommendations?
At the moment, the recommendations are to investigate every person, to follow every person who has had Ebola, and to see what their particular symptoms are, and then to treat those symptoms symptomatically. What I mean by that is, so if you have joint pains, we have specific medicines for those joint pains. If you have headaches, we have specific medicines for those headaches. And where it's eye symptoms, we need ophthalmologists. So we urgently need ophthalmologists to come and work with post-Ebola, with people who've survived Ebola.
And very quickly, could this be related to the type of Ebola strain, maybe?
No, we've not seen any evidence of that. The Ebola strain has been pretty consistent, but one of the things we are doing now, with every person we find who has Ebola, we immediately do some genetic testing.
Okay, Dr. Harris, thank you so much for joining us. And that was Dr. Margaret Harris, as she is spokesperson for Ebola with the World Health Organization. That's our Africa Health Report for today. Vincent?
Well, thanks a lot. Now be sure to watch Lino Madu's Health Reports every Tuesday and Thursday right here on Africa 54. Well, have you heard the saying that if you follow your passion, you will succeed? Well, these words have certainly come true for one Ghanaian woman. Africa 54's Paul Diho joins us now with the details.
Thanks again, Vincent. This is a fascinating story about a Ghanaian woman who quit her corporate job in the United States and moved back to West Africa to launch a lifestyle brand for natural products. Since returning to her native country, Nana Amayanka has turned her passion into a profitable business. I met with her recently in Accra.
Dry skin moisturizers.
It's been said that being passionate about your work is the key to success. Nana Amayanka is no exception. It was her passion that triggered her to start a Naya Natural lifestyle brand for natural products. And she has literally turned her brother's garage into a mini factory.
This raw shea butter. So we melt it and then we filter it before we actually use it.
Where did you get raw shea butter?
From the north. I called them up and they sent me some.
Nana says that using shea butter in various products is a business that she has had in mind for the last 5 years.
So as you can tell, it's pretty much gone from oil to white because of the emulsifiers in there and also just the water. What I'm going to do next is add in the preservative, because when you mix oil and water and you don't put any preservative in it, it's actually going to mold.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'm adding some color to be able to make the product.
Nana says that many commercial creams irritated her sensitive skin. And that's when she developed the idea to start making her own product line from local and imported materials.
Butter that's been mixed with coconut oil.
Smells good.
Yes, and we mix in the essential oils.
Regarding her own technical knowledge of the shea butter making process, Nana admits that she didn't have any formal training or background in chemistry, but she certainly does now.
I am not a chemist by any measure.
Like any startup company, it's not without its challenges. For example, getting her product line certified and approved by the Ghana Standards Authority took a long time. And of course, the constant problem with power blackouts. But despite these hurdles, she has a very positive attitude.
I wanted to start something. I'm always one of those people that I like to do things, I like to start things, I like to try things. I do that with food. I do that with, products. I do that with different things. So why not start my own business?
Naya Natural products can be found in several local Ghanaian shopping malls, at fairs and exhibitions. They deliver locally and sell and ship internationally.
Our goal is to make products that people can identify with. They know what it is. Natural products from things that we find around us, or products that have been around us but have not been improved over time. We want to be able to take them and improve on them.
Although there are many body care products on the market, making shea butter creams can be a perfect business opportunity if you have the right people to market the product.
They have no side effects, actually, because there are no chemicals in them that are harmful. They don't bleach, they don't make you dark. They just help maintain your natural skin color, whether fair or dark.
Cosmetic experts say shea butter has qualities that make it a popular ingredient in many cosmetic supplies, lotions and other skincare products. As Naya Natural products have become more popular, Yanka is already planning to expand the brand to sell on the local market. Back to you, Vincent.
Well, thanks a lot, Paul. It's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. How high-tech dressing rooms are reshaping retail. We'll be right back.
It does not solve the problems of Burundi.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. Telecom giant Verizon announces it is buying AOL for about $4.4 billion or $50 a share. Now, the deal aims to create a major new player in the digital media business by combining one of the biggest mobile network providers with a leading content producer. It is part of Verizon's plan to dominate a future in which all content from TV channels to publications are streamed over the internet. Now, today's AOL is much more than the dial-up from the 1990s. The company provides online video services, content and ads to 40,000 other publishers. It brings in $600 million in over advertising. It has news sites such as the Huffington Post, TechCrunch and Engadget. Stay tuned. Well, next up, shopping for clothes has gotten smarter in the U.S. with the latest range of digital dressing rooms. Gone are the days of twisting your neck for a better look. At select high-end retailers, smart mirrors can now play back and even offer side-by-side comparisons for savvy shoppers. The digital mirror can play back toiles so the shopper can see themselves from every angle. But the mirror is smarter than that. It can also suggest handbags or snap a photo or a video so you can compare the image side-by-side with other outfits. It can even show you how the dress will fit without you having to try it on. Now, these high-tech dressing rooms are now available at select Neiman Marcus and Bloomingdale's stores. Well, and finally, a viral video prompts a government response. Legislators in Argentina are proposing an anti-catcalling law that could make the practice punishable with a fine in the South American country. Now, the recently proposed bill was sparked by a young woman who posted a video online recounting her experience of verbal harassment by a group of workers near her home. Now, the video went viral and has now been seen by more than 500,000 people, sparking a national debate in the nation that has often been cited for its machismo culture. A large number of lawmakers are supporting the bill that will soon be voted on in the lower house of the Argentine Congress. And that is what is trending today. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight, at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching from all of us here in Washington. Have a good night. Able to touch on things that are important to people on an everyday basis. Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. In a lively half hour, news, sports, health, lifestyle information, comments from our viewers. Africa 54, the best for Africa, about Africa. Join us only on VOA.